12 months ago, the world watched on as Israel and the Jewish people faced the single worst massacre since the days of the Holocaust. 3,000 Hamas terrorists backed by Iran and their regional allies invaded Israel, murdering 1,200 men, women and children. They began with young people of many faiths and backgrounds celebrating at a music festival. They took over 250 hostages who faced torture, sexual violence and in many cases execution. They used rape as a weapon of war with utter impunity, proving that the claim is true, me too, unless you're a Jew. Hamas terrorists continue to hide behind human shields, schools, hospitals, and the humanitarian facilities which have, in some cases, given them refuge. As the Deputy Chair of Parliament's Intelligence and Security Committee, I watched the body cam footage from Hamas militants. These men shamelessly recorded their barbarity, providing the world with incontrovertible evidence of their despicable evil and hate. How quickly the world has forgotten. I visited Kfar Aza and southern Israel in the aftermath of the insidious attacks. I saw the crime scenes where Hamas terrorists executed unarmed men, women and children point blank. And I saw homes which were looted and ransacked in the immediate wake of the attacks. And I'll never forget what I've seen. I'll never forget what I've smelt, and I'll never forget what I've heard. Every scream of fear, every story of survival and loss, every cry of grief and despair, they are a reminder of the price of unbridled hate and festering anti-Semitism. From the Holocaust to Hamas to Hezbollah to the Houthi and to every hate peddler and hypocrite before and since, we've seen the Jewish people pay the price again and again and again. We swore after the horrors of World War II that we would never again allow such atrocities to occur. Yet on our watch, the pathogen of hate has been incubating in dark corners of the internet, on our campuses, in our communities, and even in the corridors of power. I was at the UN on October 7. I'd spoken with Israel's UN ambassador the day before about the continued need for vigilance against terrorism. I'd contributed to a debate on the issue of international terrorism only a few days before October 7. For a brief moment, the world seemed united in defiance to the threat of terror, and yet, as the pattern of history predictably foretold, that initial outpour of support for Israel following October 7 quickly paled into some of the worst anti-Semitism in living memory within just 48 hours. In their fight to dismantle terror and eliminate the existential threat they face, the State of Israel has found few faithful friends in the international community. As a result, we've seen a pandemic of anti-Semitism infect our own streets and schools. We've seen apologists for terror masquerading as social justice warriors while they fly the flags of hate, chanting the war cries of Hamas and Hezbollah. And we've seen the UN turn a blind eye to its own staff assisting in the October 7 attacks. As Peter Dutton this year said, anti-Semitism is a threat to the Australian achievement, to our democratic way of life and to civilisation itself. It is un-Australian and we must eliminate it wherever it rears its ugly head. We cannot reason with fundamentalism and evil. As French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre said, anti-Semites delight in acting in bad faith, since they seek not to persuade by sound argument, but to intimidate. Instead, we must remain vigilant and united. We must choose courage and conviction, and Australia must recall the horrors of the Holocaust, the brotherhood of Beersheba, and the enduring heritage we share with Israel and the Jewish people. We must stand up, speak up, and show up for the Jewish people. This current Labor government has failed Jewish Australians and the people of Israel. That must stop. For every life lost, for every hostage taken, for every broken heart and broken family, we must continue to confront the darkness in the hope and light of better days ahead. Let me leave you with the words of the prophet Micah. Do not gloat over me, my enemy. Though I have fallen, I will rise. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light. Israel Chai.